everyone. Happy Friday night. Krista here. I am a teacher, classroom teacher. I teach 3rd and 4th grade and I'm in Martinsburg, West Virginia. And if we haven't met yet, nice to meet you. I titled this 7 questions every student wants answers to at the beginning of the year. And hey Tessa, thanks for jumping on here. And so I'm going to tell you those 7 questions. When I heard these 7 questions, it was kind of like an aha moment for me, or maybe what we call, yes, Tessa's still in the classroom. I dropped by on my way to RU tonight. When I heard these 7 questions, it was kind of like a light bulb moment for me, but I am just on a journey as a teacher to make my classroom as effective as possible and to run as smooth as possible. And when I heard these 7 questions, I thought, why not be addressing these at the beginning of the school year? I think that your students would have a better school year, and you as a teacher probably would as well. Hey Judith, good to see you. Well, kind of see you, right? So before I jump in there, if you are watching this live, if you wouldn't mind to maybe comment for me, maybe tell me how your day was, tell me how long you got till school starts. Are you already starting to plan like I am? If you are watching this on replay, if you would do me a big favor and just comment replay so I know that you watched. And then if you get any value from this, if you would feel free to share the video for me, and you're even encourage you can turn on notifications. Hey, Beatrice, is that how you say it? Thanks for watching. So like I said, how many of you at the beginning of the year, in your classroom, your students ask all types of questions. I feel like especially the first week of school, there is a constant array of questions that we're answering. And what if we could kind of get a handle on what those questions are going to be and be prepared and have great answers for them and hit the ground running our very first day of school. I think if you guys have watched any of my videos, you know that I like Harry Wong and what he teaches. And I mentioned a few videos ago about how I listened to a lecture of his on being an effective and successful teacher. And he mentioned these 7 points in there, and I just love them. What my plan is to maybe create kind of like a trifold for my students the first day of school, and it's going to have pretty much all the answers to these 7 questions in them. So I'm going to jump right in. The first question that every student asks at the beginning of the year is, am I in the right room? Now, if you teach grade school, that's likely not as much of a concern as it is for junior high and high school who switch classes. But even in grade school, why not go ahead and write your name on the board? And that'll be a big clue for the students that they're in the right spot. I remember when I went to junior high, I was so incredibly nervous, but thankfully I had 3 older brothers and sisters that had all went through the same school. Well, they were in school a few years ahead of me. And I remember my big brother, he sat down and drew a map of the school for me and showed me on the map where everything was, because I was so afraid that I was going to get lost or end up in the wrong spot. So that is a definite thing kids want to know. So just write your name on the board. That's kind of a good way to handle that. Number 2, the question they're going to ask is, where am I supposed to sit? Can I get like you totally get that? My students right away, they want to know that. Opening house night, or what's that called? Parent orientation night. We usually have like about a week before school starts, maybe 5 days before school starts. And that's always the first thing the students do. They come in and they want to look for their chair, right? So if you do not assign them seats, and this is especially, I feel like, again, in junior high and high school, because I feel like maybe grade school, we just do that. But if you do not assign them seats, they're going to assign them for you, and that might not be the best thing. So come up with some creative way. You could create a grid, or maybe and then give them a note card that has a dot and they have to figure out where it belongs at. But you could come up with some creative ways for that, but definitely assign them seats. And especially if it's a kid coming from maybe a multi-generational family where they're all living in one place and maybe they don't feel like they have anything of their own. It's just a really good feeling for them to know that they have a spot that belongs to them. So definitely, where am I supposed to sit? Number 3 is, what are the rules? And does anyone, maybe you understand that, like you always wanted to know that, what your teacher expected from you and what the rules were for your class. I know that I felt that way when I was in school. For me personally, I only have 3 to 5 rules, and that's what is suggested. You shouldn't have more than 3 to 5 rules. And really, I have 2. My 2 rules are: stay in your seat and don't talk without permission. They have to raise their hand to get permission to talk. And those 2 rules are the only rules that I have. Everything else are just procedures that keeps my class running smoothly. So definitely right away let them know what the rules are for your class. And you could even post them somewhere, especially at the beginning of the year, so the kids see them and they're aware of them. Number 4, the question they'll have at the beginning of the year is, what will I be doing this year? And they're excited. It's a new school year. New things are going to happen. And they are so curious to know what they're going to be doing this year. And whether that's projects that they get to complete, field trips, activities they get to go on. So let them know that first day of school how excited you are. Tell them about some of the projects that they're going to be doing and some of the things that they're going to be learning and some of the places maybe they're going to go on a field trip, and get them excited about what's coming for the year. But answer that question on the very first day. Number 5, they're going to want to know how they will be graded. And I feel like, especially in junior high and high school, as they're starting to get a grasp and an understanding of their grades. Oh, hey, Miss Barbara, thank you. You're a sweetheart. They will want to know how they're going to be graded. And so go ahead and answer that first day of school. This really got me in the area of, we do penmanship at our school, and penmanship is one of those subjects where the kids the most want to know how they're going to be graded on it, because that's kind of like not a gray area, but it's, everyone can maybe have a different perspective on what their handwriting's like. And so I'm really going to work on that the first day of school to have some really clear examples for them on how they're going to be graded on penmanship, but definitely let them know how they're going to be graded. And then I'm almost finished. Number six is they want to know who their teacher is as a person. And that is something, they're new to you, they don't know you, and they want to know who you are. And especially as a grade school teacher, we have them all day long, and that's a lot of hours that we have them, right? And they want to know who we are. And so tell them stuff about yourself. Tell them your hobbies. Tell them maybe some things that you collect. Tell them the food that you like to eat, stuff about your family. Maybe bring a report card in and let them see some of your report cards from when you were in grade school, or ribbons that you won. Show them your diploma. Let them know, like, hey, it's possible. You can graduate, right? Because you did it. But let them know all about you. And I always loved the teachers that I had in school, and you felt closer to them when you knew some things about them. And I just remember a teacher in particular, her name was Mrs. Williams, and I was a junior in high school, and she was just great about that. Like, she kept her boundaries, right? But she made us all feel like we were a part of her life because we knew just enough about her. So definitely tell them some things about, and again, you could even create a little handout to give them that has all this information in it, and they can keep it in their folder, or they can take it home, or it can be something that they can go back to. And then also, this would really help you if you did take the time to make this into like a trifold or something that you hand the students. As you have new students that sometimes come in the middle of the year, or sometimes at the end of the school year, you can hand that to them, and it's going to have the answers for them. And then number 7 is, will my teacher treat me fairly? And the answer to that is, of course, right? You're going to treat your students fairly. So tell them that you're going to treat them fairly. Now, they might need to understand that your definition of fair is different than their definition, but definitely let them know that you are going to treat them fairly. And especially the last 2 points, if you have a student who's at risk or maybe low achievers, those are the 2 that they're especially going to want to know. So I hope that as you're preparing for this summer, maybe these 7 questions help you and maybe give you some ideas. If you want the list, send me a private message and I'll give you a copy of the list in case you didn't want to take notes or anything like that. And thank you so much for watching. If you got any value from this or know any teachers that should see it, feel free to tag them or share the video with them. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.